Hello and welcome to the News Made Simple podcast with me, Khomuzo Modise. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for coming on here. This is the platform where we make news simple. I'm here to help you make sense of it all. And of course, I'm back with what's been happening in Parliament. General Shadrack Sibiya has been testifying for the last 2 days or so, and I can tell you that it has been bomb after bomb after bomb, explosive content. But before we get into it, I want to encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember to share with all those around you. If you're listening on an audio platform, so that is Apple Podcasts or Spotify, remember to like and to comment. Yes, you can comment on Spotify now. I wonder if you can do the same on Apple Podcasts, but I'm certain that there's that feature on Spotify. So remember to leave your comment there. I want to hear from you. Let's engage. All right, it has been 2 days of General Shadrack Sibiya before the Parliamentary Adhoc Committee that is investigating the allegations made by General Ndlandla Mkhwanazi. And I can tell you two things. Number one, Shadrack Sibiya is sick of you guys. He's sick of you guys hero worshipping or placing General Ndlandla Mkhwanazi on a pedestal. He is hurtful with all of the praise that he's been getting, and he basically wants it to stop. But number two, Shadrack Sibiya believes that Ndlandla Mkhwanazi is being given preferential treatment. And he says this in not so many words. Now, some of you guys have been calling it professional jealousy. I don't know. But Sibiya seems to think no other police officer in the country could have done what Ndlandla Mkhwanazi did in July, the 6th of July, that fateful day. Sibiya is clear. No one else could have done that and still had a job in South Africa as a police officer. And that's why he believes that Ndlandla Mkhwanazi has been getting preferential treatment.
If today I can stand up and go and call that press conference, I also used, at some point in my life, I also wore camouflage uniform. Maybe I should also wear one, go make a conference as well and talk things. But I will be fired from the podium same time. That day on stage doing that, I'll be gone. But some people, because they've got a very powerful social media that they have invested in, every TikTok that you open, no police official is allowed to do what General Mkhwanazi is doing. No provincial commissioner you will see on TikTok. He's the only one that campaign on and funded on TikTok. And this wins all the South Africans. You touch Mkhwanazi, you touch us. But he's a policeman. So I'm just saying there are a lot of things that are wrong that we are supporting as a country.
Now, in the last couple of hours of his testimony, the last hour or so, Sibiya really got heated up as Parliament started asking him some really difficult questions. And I want to start there. The last hour, we saw Senior Counsel Arendse, Advocate Arendse, asking Sibiya some really tough questions around the disbandment of the Political Killings Task Team. You see, at the heart of all of this is the decision to disband the Political Killings Task Team, a decision that General Shadrack Sibiya stood by, stands by. He thinks it was the right decision to make, and he says that that is because the task team was serving only a small group of South Africans. It wasn't serving the entire country, and so he supported the decision that the dockets that were by the Political Killings Task Team or being investigated by the Political Killings Task Team should be taken to a new murder and robberies unit. And so what we've heard from Sibiya over the last couple of hours, well, in the last hours of his testimony in Parliament, was that that decision had been made. It had been okayed by the General, Fani Masemola, who's the National Police Commissioner. But then we heard Parliament, particularly Advocate Arendse, pushing him a little harder around why you had supported and had pushed, basically, and spearheaded, championed the decision to move these dockets from the Political Killings Task Team and taken them to your office, basically, at the head office in Pretoria, and they sat there gathering dust.
Dockets were now going to be taken to murder and robbery. They weren't done either. They were just there for 4 or 5 months.
No, for 3 months.
For 3 months.
Yes.
However long.
Yes.
The victims of crime, they want to see justice, and they don't want to see a delay in their matters, especially where killings are involved and families are involved who are the victims of these killings.
Am I able to ask a question, Chair?
Ask the senior counsel. Yes, you can ask him.
Does the council ever accept the fact that the docket was supposed to be taken to KZN and the KZN Provisional Commission rejected them?
But the dockets were never, we've heard that. The dockets, he said no, that because he was not the custodian of the dockets. The documents should have been returned to Sentumile and Kumalo. Kumalo is the project leader of PKTT. Why wasn't it restored to them?
But he took.
Now, it's clear that General Shadrack Sibiya feels that the decision to disband the political killings task team was one that was made by General Masemola, and he shouldn't take the fall for it. He also insists he didn't take that decision, or he didn't take the directive from the minister, but it came from Masemola. Masemola, however, says that Sibiya, or his directive, was not that it should be disbanded immediately. It was that it should be winded down while he tries to buy time and convince the minister otherwise. But the picture that's been painted by Masemola and Mkhwanazi is that Sibiya was more than eager to disband this task team. The question is why? Now, the allegation is that because his friends were being investigated by this task team. You remember, the decision to disband the political killings task team came around the time or immediately after the arrest of Katiso K.T. Molefe, the alleged crime kingpin, one of the big five, right? So the allegation that's been made by Mkhwanazi, in essence, is that Sibiya pushed for the disbanding of the political killings task team together with the suspended minister Senzo Mchunu because their friends were now being arrested and police were closing in on them. This is something that Sibiya denies, but it's also something that got him a little annoyed as he was answering questions in Parliament.
Do you want to comment on that?
Just to ask a question, General Kumalo testified before this committee, Chair.
No, he hasn't testified before this committee. I'm putting it to you. I'm giving you an opportunity to answer to it.
I hear the evidence here saying Lieutenant General Kumalo says.
Yes.
Are you communicating with General Kumalo?
Well, no. We're all listening to, he's already testified, and before he fell ill in the commission. He is going to testify before this committee, well, not officially yet. I'm sure that everyone wants to hear what he's got to say. He was the project leader of the team.
Chair, I don't know. I don't want to get the impression that the chair keep on getting. The evidence here keep on getting messages, and then the questions carry on and on. I just don't want to make those allegations.
Okay.
Now, something else that's been interesting from Sibiya's testimony over the last day or two is that he admits to having relationships, I should say, with some of the most dodgy people in this country. People like Abusmuzi Cat Matlala, even calling him Cat at some point, really signing or signaling familiarity. But he also admits to knowing people like an Edwin Sodi. These are all people that are accused of tender fraud, among other crimes. And we know with Cat Matlala, he's accused of being part of this big five that was detailed by General Dumsani Khumalo. Sibiya knows these people, and he knows a lot of people in these dark circles in our country. The question is why? Why would that be the case? You remember that a few weeks ago, we saw an interview by a man named Serge Kabonge, who was known for being a blesser when the term blesser was new. But of course, he's also in these circles. Kabonge had spoken about how he's basically friends with Shadrack Sibiya. This was an interview on 702. The question is, why would Shadrack Sibiya be friends with the Serge Kabonge, someone who's known to be operating in really dark circles? Yes, he's a businessman. That's what people call themselves. But he's in the club scene, and we know from DJ Somebody what happens in the club scene.
Do you know Kat Matlala?
I know Cat Matlala.
How do you know him? Have you got a relationship with him?
No. Before I came back to the police, I didn't know Cat. Mr. Matlala. I didn't know Mr. Matlala, and I got to know Mr. Matlala when he called, wanting to meet. And I said, no, come to the office.
Now, speaking of that big five, I think it was interesting to hear how Shadrack Sibiya came out in defense of this big five. Now, the question to him wasn't even really about the big five. The question to him was, are there factions within the police? But somehow he got himself so entangled that he ended up answering the question, or ended up saying, there is no big five. But that wasn't the question.
The big five that is being spoken about is not there. And if it is indeed true, it is there, it exists, why are they not being arrested? For drugs or for whatever reason it may be. But personally, I'm not involved in the big five. I don't know the big five. So I'm just saying, you ask a simple question, are there cartels or are there factionalism in the South African Police Service? I'm tempted to say yes, but I think it's better left to this committee to look at what is happening after our presentation and decide on that state.
I mean, Shadrack Sibiya is a senior police officer. He knows how these things work. He knows that there are many criminals in this country, powerful people that don't get arrested because they are connected, because of who they know, because of the money that they have. He knows this. He cannot be oblivious to this. The fact that he questions why the Big Five isn't arrested, for me, is rather telling. Are you playing dumb? But also, the allegation is that a certain police officer with the initials SS, someone that has a name that rhymes with Adhoc, has been protecting these people, has been protecting the big five. So why then would you pretend that you're not aware of this allegation? And why would you pretend that you don't know that in South Africa, police officers get entangled every day, corrupt police officers get entangled every day with dodgy characters, and they get into bed with them? Now, the crux of Shadrack Sibiya's testimony was the question around why he had gone ahead with the disbanding of the Political Killings Task Team. And even though the police commissioner, Fani Masemola, says that wasn't the directive that came from him. But more than anything, the main question is, why would Shadrack Sibiya make the order, facilitate the order? I mean, at some point, he was even denying that he made that order. Parliament had to come in, and this is Advocate Arendse, had to come in and say, you admitted to it at some point in the testimony that you made the call for the dockets to be brought back, but now you're denying it. Whether or not this was a decision that was made by him or not, it was clearly facilitated by him. The question is, why would he facilitate the movement of the dockets from the Political Killings Task Team only for them to lie around in an office somewhere and not be investigated and those crimes not being cracked? Why is he okay with the dockets lying, gathering dust for months, instead of being investigated and cases being opened? There's a lot more that came from Shadrack Sibiya's testimony, and I know for a fact that you guys have highlighted some interesting points as well. So hop into my comment section and let's continue with the conversation. Sibiya is done, and now we wait for Senzo Mchunu, the Minister of Police, to also get into the hot seat at the Adhoc committee in Parliament. That's it for me for now. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for choosing News Made Simple with me, Khomotso Modise. Let's do it again next time. But before I leave, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Goodbye.